Okay, so thank you everyone for being here. I'm super excited to have this episode of Global Employability Expert Series today. I'm really sorry about the noise if you hear that noise. Sorry about that, live. So in this super episode, I'm very excited because I have someone here with me that I really, really like. So I'm very excited to introduce you to this awesome person. As you already may know, we are recording this webinar, so you can watch it later on. You can explore also our YouTube channel where you can find our past webinars. And we will have like 10 minutes after the presentation, so you can ask any questions. Please use the Q&A box that you have there. I know we have the chat. Please, if you have questions for our speaker, do them, make these questions by the Q&A box, right? Not through the chat. And okay, so I'm going to introduce our topic for today, which I really like, which is entrepreneurship for social impact. Okay, how you can change the world by being an entrepreneur. And I have someone who really knows about entrepreneurship. So I'm going to share a little bit about who our speaker is today. So today we have Marc Alain Boucicault, who is an ecosystem builder. He's the founder of Banj, an entrepreneurship hub located in Port-au-Prince. This is Haiti. You know, Haiti is in the Caribbean. Probably you heard about Haiti because unfortunately they have earthquakes and natural disasters, and Haiti is struggling a lot to rebuild themselves, and Marc is contributing towards that. So what Marc has done is he brought Facebook and Google to Haiti to work with developers and to support entrepreneurship in a nation still seen as a destination mostly for humanitarian work. Born, raised, and college educated in Port-au-Prince, the capital of Haiti, he worked 7 years in international development in Washington, D.C., and in Port-au-Prince at the World Bank and with the Inter-American Development Bank before he decided to create his own businesses, in plural, because he has done so many things. He's also the co-founder of Group Eco IT, a grassroots organization that valorizes the potential of young adults in development in Haiti, through which he created and led several innovative projects. One of these was Elan Haiti, the biggest international platform that brings together a community of students, young leaders, and entrepreneurs from Haiti, its diaspora, and the world, and focuses on taking joint actions in Haiti. Marc is also responsible for partnerships at the Haiti Tech Summit, the biggest international tech event in the history of the country. He serves as a board member at the French Haitian Chamber of Commerce and Industry and at the Haitian Education and Leadership Program. He's a Fulbright scholar and a One Young World Ambassador. He holds an MA in Financial Economic Policy from American University and a BA in Applied Quantitative Economics. He believes that entrepreneurship is the only way out of poverty for Haiti. So you can see we have a wow. I love this speaker. And in this presentation, Marc will share his journey as an entrepreneur and an ecosystem builder, his current projects, and why he believes entrepreneurship is the only way out of poverty for Haiti. He will also share some tips and reflections on what knowledge and skills you need to become an entrepreneur. So without further ado, welcome, Marc. Welcome here. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and then you can share, you can take it from here, okay?
Hello, everyone. I am super happy to be here. I know it's early for some of you, I know it's very late for some others. So, I really want that moment to be a moment for you to really ask me questions and really discover new perspectives about life. I know all of you are here because you're looking for more opportunities. There's 136 of you. Please feel free to chat and network and also ask me questions about my presentation. I am Haitian. I am from Haiti. I am from the Caribbean. I was very lucky to be able to connect with so many young people. so many young people in Haiti and around the world. I traveled to Africa, the US. The only place I haven't been around the world, the only continent is Australia, but it seems like they don't have many representatives here anyway. So I've seen many parts of the world, but really what has been dear to me has been my country. I am very passionate about Haiti and how you can leverage not just entrepreneurship, but who you are, the resources you have access to make a difference, to make a change. So I'm going to share my PowerPoint here just to take it from Murtai's first presentation to kind of walk you through a little discussion about entrepreneurship, but really starting very early, starting like age between 20 to 25, most likely, and asking yourself, what can I do? How can I build? Starting from who you are and what I call your personal brand. Many of you have heard that word personal brand. And some of you may think that it's really just about, having a social media presence. Yes, I am on Twitter. I am followed by over 60,000 people. I have a lot of followers on LinkedIn and on Instagram. But this is not what my personal brand is. My personal brand is really about what do people say about me when I'm not in the room? And I think that's the question I have for all of you here. How are you building this reputation and how are people telling about you when you're not in the room? So, of course, I think my brand, like many of you, started from university. Many of you here are probably, college graduates. And I started my career by building a reputation for myself as a student who just started a workspace. So I guess that relates with a lot of you here on the call. So I hope you can learn about this. So a little bit about my journey and things that are now truly part of my brand. So when you say Marc Alain Boucicault in Haiti, what does people think about? What have I been able to build? And I'm going to tell you the secrets of how I built it. And I hope that's going to be helpful for you. So when you hear Marc Alain today, you hear Fulbright. I don't know if any of you have heard about the Fulbright. It is the most prestigious scholarship from the State Department of the United States that invites over 3,000 top performing scholars around the world to study in the US and have a free master's degree. So that's how I became an economist, and I I worked as an economist at the IDB. IDB, another brand, the Inter-American Development Bank, attached to Marc Alain. I worked 8 years in international development. What does that mean when people hear that? I'm also part of One Young World, the biggest youth leadership network in the world. And I also built a network in Haiti, which I was so proud to have Mirta being part of when she was, exploring Haiti. Anyone?
Yeah, actually, that is how we met with Mark. Because when I mentioned that he created Elan IT, which was one of the first leadership forum for young people in Haiti, I went there, and that's how I met Mark. So I know I've seen what he does, and it is amazing.
Thank you, Mirta. Thank you so much. So just throwing out names because that's how the world works. People, when they don't know you, they try to reference you with something, and that's why I'm pulling out these names, these brand tags we call them. So, yes, I was featured on Forbes magazine for my work to help support a new narrative for Haiti. So, the article is out there on Forbes. I made the cover of magazines in Haiti, and I was in 2019 one of the top 12 personalities in Haiti, alongside people like Naomi Osaka. You probably all know her, and some famous ambassadors and ministers. I'm right there on the screen on the biggest magazine in Haiti. And when I was younger, I was top 20 young people who marked Haiti. I'm part. When you mention Google, when you mention Facebook, all of these places kind of have a relationship with the work I've done. This is to tell you a little bit. When you reach a phase like that, you build a strong brand. And I became an entrepreneur because I built a strong brand. And that brand is Banj. So what is Banj? And this is really what want to share with you just to tell you a little bit about what my journey was and why, when you're an entrepreneur, what's the most important thing for you to follow and what are your reference points. An entrepreneur is simply a person who identified a problem and find a solution for it. A lot of things are going to change in the approach, in the branding, in how you go about it. But at the end of the day, being an entrepreneur is truly about identifying an issue and finding a solution for it. And what was my issue? My issue is actually kind of complex. But I don't advise you to have complex issues because it makes it very hard to solve. And it makes it very hard to track your progress. I started my career, like I told you, as a super smart student from school who got a job at the World Bank, then got another job at the IDB, and started building a brand in Haiti, which is kind of similar to what situation you probably are right now, right? So now, my problem was I don't see enough change happening in my country. And I was frustrated about that. And my question was, how can I bring my contribution? And for years, I have been a leader, building platform, putting people together. I did not even realize that my biggest strength, and this is featured in a book that just came out, my biggest strength was I was very good at connecting the dots, at talking to people, at making sure that if we're having a conversation in this room, I think I usually am the one who kind of summarizes the conversation, who kind of understand who brought point A, who brought point B, and how do we make this to a point E that kind of puts everyone in a comfortable space. That was my superpower. That was my strength. And the question for you today is, what is your superpower? What is your strength? And usually your superpower and your strength is what people are saying about you when you're not in the room. So another question for you today, if you are not in a room with your friends or people who are collaborating with you, what would they be missing? What would they say is not there because you're not there? Is it the fun? Is it the quantitative analysis? Is it the summary? Is it your capacity to really calculate the solution? Is it your smartness? Is it your good humor? Find your superpower. And that's the beginning of your strength. And for years, 8 years totally, I worked in international development. I learned a lot about project management. But also in parallel, I was experiencing my leadership, bringing people together. And at the end, in 2017, just 4 years ago, I found a solution. I found a way to bring my leadership and my competencies together into this company called Banj. And what is Banj? Banj is actually a co-working space. Can you imagine for years me bringing people together, loving to do events and connecting with people? My question was, how can I be doing this for the rest of my life? Because that's truly what I love. How many of you are asking yourself that question? So I was researching online. Research, always helpful. Look at the world, surf on YouTube, go to conferences, try to understand what people are really doing and how you can innovate together. So Banj, for me, was a co-working space. And I saw that by looking at the US. I was studying in the United States, and I saw places that are being built and bringing people together. And that's when I realized, oh my gosh, that's what I need to do. I need to be able to create a business model to bring people together because I love bringing people together, but I never built a business around it. And if there's a business solution for it, I should bring both of those things together and do it for the rest of my life. So I was able to find that idea by doing research. And by doing research, I was the first person in Haiti to build a co-working space. And as you can see in these pictures there, this is my co-working space. This is my business. I became an entrepreneur looking for my passion and looking for a way to do and exercise my passion in a sustainable way. So to become an entrepreneur, you need to have passion. You need to be able to say, I want to be able to do this for the rest of my life. And then do research and find a sustainable solution. A solution that can renew itself by itself. So today we have a co-working space in Haiti. We're bringing people together and then we charge them so they can use the space. But because the space is ours, we can also decide to give it for free to whoever we believe is worth it. And that's when we started building other solutions around that space. We built a community of people. And one of the first community we brought to Haiti for the first time was Startup Grind. Maybe some of you heard about Startup Grind in your countries. It is Google's solution to bring the experience of accomplished entrepreneurs to younger entrepreneurs who are starting. So we were the one who started hosting Startup Grind in Haiti and make people come to our space. We built Haiti Tech Summit, the biggest technology summit. I am super passionate by three things: youth, entrepreneurship, and innovation. Whenever you mention those three things, I feel like I have to be there. So, what are your three things? What are you motivated about? We were even able to bring Jack Dorsey to Haiti. Jack Dorsey is the founder of Twitter. And I think somehow by interviewing him myself, I kind of became a little popular on Twitter from there. So these are little perks who comes around, but that's not the main and the most important thing. So we host Startup Grind, we host tech summits in Haiti. And we also brought Facebook to Haiti. We met, people at Facebook by organizing tech events around Haiti. We invited to come, and then we had a space, we had a community. Of course, they're interested. And we built the biggest network of developers who are working in tech. And today they are becoming startuppers. They are becoming people who are building businesses. And this is when we partnered with Google and started an accelerator in Haiti. Google has an accelerator program called Google for Startups around the world. So we were also able to bring all that knowledge, all those Googlers who know, all those people with experience, they can share in really pushing a narrative around Haiti. At the end of the day, my goal is to change the narrative. And that's what the whole article on Forbes was all about. So you have to also be a good seller. You have to be able to live your dreams and also communicating with people. If you can't do that, find someone that can. And one of the biggest secrets of becoming an entrepreneur, you don't know everything. You can't do everything on your own. You have to build teams. You have to work with people. You have to sell. There is no entrepreneur without selling. So you need to figure out who is going to join your journey and do what you can't. I might be very good with math. I might be very good with selling, but I am terrible at accounting. So I knew I needed someone to help me with that. So we do have a team. We are a team of 7 people who are now working to push this program forward. So built a community, and then we built a space. So now the question was, what else can we do? Because it's really about changing the narrative. We build a network of developers. Yes, great. But what else could we do? And I think my journey as an entrepreneur and your journey as an entrepreneur it should not be about stopping somewhere. It's really about what can you add? How can you make the product better? How can you bring more solution? How can you make a bigger impact? It never stops. It's an amazing journey. It's full of ups and downs, right? Some days you wake up, you're like, oh my gosh, this is so hard. Particularly for me, I live in Haiti. My business was burned in 2019 because there were riots in Haiti, political instability, and then a group of people just broke into our space and destroyed my entire work. But that's when
I
I
know, Mark.
realized.
When I saw that, I was super sad because I've been following your path since we met, right? And I'm always there. That's why I invited you because I think you do amazing work. And when I saw that, I was so sad because I'm like, no, this can't happen. And then I was super impressed, but at the same time, I wasn't because you've been doing so many great things. It was like, yeah, of course he was gonna, raise from the ashes like the phoenix, like because that's what you do.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I think when my business got destroyed was also when I realized how important the work was. Sometimes when you're cooking in the kitchen, you don't really realize how amazing the food can be. Only when people come and give you feedback. I think that moment was when I got my most important feedback in life, that the work that we're doing was worth it for the community. And people stood up. They started fundraising. And this is where I really want to go into understanding What do you need to become an entrepreneur? And what is the most important thing that you need to take into account? I think your branding is your biggest asset. Your reputation, who you are, what people assume that about you that matters. What do they see when they see your name? What do they think about? And I think these things are things that you can influence. And you can start working on them very early. I think my biggest and most important thing when someone saw me was I want people to know that I love my country. So whatever I do, it's not about personal gain. It's really about creating a difference. I wanted people to know that. I wanted people to also know that I'm very serious and that I am very smart. I want people to also believe that. And I think a lot of you are in that position as well. And I also wanted people to know that I am a connector. I can help you get to where you need to be. I think those three important things were like central to my brand. Whether you call it Fulbright, I was even on a list at the UN of one of the most influential person of Black descent that was back in 2018. But every element of my brand feels like he's smart. Yeah, he's a Fulbright scholar. He loves his country. He created Elan. He's a one young world. And also, he's a connector. He brings Google, he brings Facebook. I don't mean that you have to copy those patterns, but I really want you to understand that you need to find your three words and then put it in your branding. And your best way to put it out there is social media. I think we often forget how powerful social media can be. Yes, we say it. We see a couple likes. We want to be very famous. But sometimes who is looking at you is more important than how many. I'm saying this again. Who is watching you sometimes are more important than how many people is watching you right now. So what are the influence that you can have on those watching you? And I think this is the free best place for you to put out your story. So starting organizing your brand in a way that you have a consistent message and then share it on social media. And also make sure you build your following in a nice way. Make sure it's people who connects with you. And I hope if you like this conversation, for example, that you will also connect with me. And then whatever I do in the future, you will be in the loop and we can share and we can interact around it. So when you build your audience, you build it with people who are like-minded or people who like what you're doing or people that can be impacted by what you're doing. If you love water, if you love sanitation, if you're obsessed by any of these SDGs to solve the issues of the world, find people who are like that, connect with them. And then whatever you do will be amplified. And I love that Mita said that she met me in Haiti. She's been following my work because I post a lot on social media. And look at me today. She invited me because she feels like it's worth it to connect with you. And that's
Absolutely,
the
Mark.
power.
Honestly, I think that you are one of the most inspiring people I've I've met, and I've met a lot of people. Huh? Definitely, I've seen your work. Like, I was amazed. I came to Haiti. I had gone before because I was working in the Dominican Republic, which is a country that is next to Haiti. They share the island in the Caribbean, and so I was working with youth and education and debating, and I was really engaged with well some very key issues that well were part of the island, right? Like education, the need for critical thinking, and then I saw this application process to participate in this youth forum in Haiti. And I was, what? I've never heard of anything like this. This sounds amazing. And then I had to apply. You had a very competitive process, right? You made me answer so many questions. And then there was like a quota for foreigners because most of the people were from Haiti. The idea was like, hey, let's have Haitian people, Haitian youth reflect about our own issues and create solutions. And so I went there and I what I found was it was hope, right? And actually I became passionate about Haiti. I did my master's degree in London, and I went back to the island, and I traveled around the island, and I was motivated because I found so much engagement and motivation from youth. I found out that more than 70% of the people in Haiti are under 35 years old. So you have a great potential for youth change. And when I saw that, I mean, it was partly thanks to you, right? Because I discovered the power of youth and everything that is going on in your country. So when when I think of Haiti, I'm like, okay, I'm hopeful because I know you're there working with all your initiatives. That's for sure.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it so much, Mita. It's been a long journey. It started when I met Mita, I was at the beginning of really building that brand and really just following that passion. And I think today I'm very proud that I'm able to do it sustainably because I'm doing it through a business and also a business that's having an impact. So I'm going to really leave you with some of the key elements that I want you to remember because I know time is going really fast. I think one of the first thing is really build your brand. Build your brand and amplify it on social media by building a network that is interested in what you're doing. It doesn't matter if you have 1 million followers. What really matters is you have 10 people who really care about your work. 10 people like Nirta who would still stay in touch and then think about you when comes the time. Doesn't matter the number. I think the second thing that I want to leave you with today is start really small. Start testing your powers very small and very early. If there was something I would say to myself, to my younger self, it would definitely be Mark, start earlier. Even though I think I started very early I was 24 when I built the Elon, and there were people who were even older than me who were part of the platform. I would start even earlier because when you start social impacting early, it's like a lab. You test things, you test people, you test solutions, start very small. And I remember there's this quote that inspires me a lot from Mark Zuckerberg. He said one day, if I was waiting for Facebook to be what it is today before I started, Facebook would have never been what it is today. He had no idea the platform was going to be so big. So build things small without knowing how big they can go, and then increment, make it better, grow, and then bring new solutions. And I think I will continue adding as long as I go. And my third advice is really build a great team. Not a team of friends, but teams of people who can contribute to your project. Build teams based on what you are missing, but also build teams of people who are passionate like you. And I think passion can have different forms. And I want to leave you with these 3 types of passions that we teach in one of our classes at Google, which is some people are motivated by their hearts. Make sure you fuel their hearts. Some people are motivated by their pockets. Make sure you can fuel their pockets. And some people are motivated by challenges, how complex things are. They have to think, they have to bring technical solutions. Some people are also passionate by that. Fill them with problems that they can solve. And if you can figure out the passions of your team can be different, but you as a leader, you can challenge them in a direction, then you can be a great startup owner with a great team built on problems, great solutions, with a great team, and an amazing brand. I think these are the most important element that you need to become an entrepreneur today. And at the end of the day, if you want to be a social entrepreneur like me, make sure you're having an impact. And this is where I want to take you to the last probably element of my presentation today, which is something I just started. I never stop creating new things, and I think it's also was becoming a craziness in my life after the hurricane, the earthquake that just happened in Haiti on August 14th. A lot of people were trying to help and don't know what to do. What should they do about helping? And I think I stood up with my company, Banj, and I created with some partners the Haitian Leaders Impact Fund. For many years, I've been talking about the necessity of having what I call an innovation fund in Haiti. Innovation funds are there to help entrepreneurs find some money to start. Remember I said, start small. Sometimes it's very hard to even start small because you don't have 1,000, 2,000, $3,000 to just start a company, right? So we think that innovation funds can be a really good help for entrepreneurs. And for years I've been saying that. And after the earthquake, I decided I'm going to start an innovation fund online, leveraging the power of my brand and all the amazing people who believe in my work. So we created this fund, and it's right now live at HaitianLeadersImpactFund.com. And guess what? We raised $133,000 today. And our goal is to raise $1 million. And with that money, we want to go in the South and support 100 entrepreneurs because we truly believe in the power of leadership and entrepreneurship to transform spaces. And I believe in that not just for the South, for the entire country. And my entire life and work is dedicated to prove that the narrative of Haiti can change because entrepreneurs are going to be empowered and they can make a difference, they can tackle issues, and they can create value. So with that, I invite you to go check it out and also follow how it's going on. Maybe you'll be there and clapping when it hits $1 million. I don't know if it's going to hit $1 million, but I know I have an amazing group of people who are supporting the work that I do, and they will contribute. And I am shocked by the amount of donation, 151 already, and people who are supporting the work that I'm doing. So guys, if you are passionate, if you can surround yourself with great team, if you find your superpowers, you can build a startup that can succeed. You have to be focused. It's not easy, but it's really your passion that's going to keep you up when things are going to be hard. So I really hope that these advice really help you navigate the space of entrepreneurship if that's where you want to go. If you also want to get a job after this experience, of course, get a job. I spent 8 years working before I became an entrepreneur. I learned a lot on the job market, a lot. So you can also do that. Your journey is unique. You built it. And I wish you the best. Thank you, Mirta.
Wow, Mark, I love you. This is amazing. And as I said, I truly believe like, well, you said so many valuable things. I have one very important question that someone asked in our audience. You said, okay, you should find your superpower. I how can I do to find my superpower if I'm not sure what I like doing? If I don't know what my passion is, what is your piece of advice?
That's great. That's great. Guys, and if I didn't have time to answer any questions, please feel free to hit me up either on my website, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Instagram, or on Facebook. I will make sure I dedicate time for you so I can answer your questions. But I'm going to go with this first question, and thank you so much for asking it. This is how I define superpower. I know it's not obvious, but really think about what you call this annoying void. What is that thing that you really want to see happening? Can you identify that? So, for example, my entire journey started when I was in school. So, I was in a school which is one of the hardest schools to get into in Haiti, a school of economics. And then I got into the school. So I wasn't a dumb kid. Like I'm telling you guys, I was like good with my math. I probably wasn't as good with leadership yet, because actually my first leadership experience was a failure. I became the president of my class in high school, and I was unable to even agree on a name for the promotion because I wanted everyone to agree with me. And one person not agreeing with me was being a problem. Failure. But when I get into college, I was like, I'm not about that leadership thing. I don't want to do that. Right? And then I sit down in a school. I thought I got into the Harvard of Haiti because it's the hardest school, in the country. And then when I look around, I wasn't doing Harvard things. And that frustrated me. And I asked my friends, guys, why are we in a hard school and we're not going to be the Harvards of Haiti? And then they said, let's start a club. Let's talk about it. If they're not going to teach us, if they're not going to tell us what to do, we can do them ourselves. And this is how my journey started. So really out of what I call positive frustration. So what is the void? Is the issue of water around you annoying you? Solve it. Is the issue of leadership, like one of my biggest issues right now, and I'm gonna quote someone I really like who's no longer with us, but said something super powerful. It's Kofi Annan. He said, if your leaders are not leading, make them follow. Right now, it's my biggest dream to make my president. I had a president, he died, but we're probably gonna have more. If my leaders are not leading, how can I make them follow me? So what kind of leadership I can develop to have them do that, right? So find things that people are not tackling. And I think if you look at the SDGs, you'll find many examples. And that's how you will find your passion. And for your superpower, it's really about what is missing when you're not there. You really have to think about it. Is it the fun? Your fun can be your superpower. Is it your capacity to put things together? Is it your capacity to write papers really fast? Is it your project writing skills? Find that skill that makes you unique, and then find that passion that gives you that positive frustration, and start
I
small.
I really love that concept, the positive frustration. That is how actually I discovered my passion because when I went to the Dominican Republic, I realized that people went to school but they didn't learn, right? They couldn't reflect. They just repeated. And I was like, this is not right. I was angry, like I said, I need to do something. And then, well, I think when we become like really aware of what we're looking for, even if it's not so conscious, but when we have that drive, things appear, right? Like you start connecting, like you said. So I really love that concept. I have a really interesting question here. Someone says, I'm an introvert, but I have great ideas and I want to do great things for myself and my country. But my personality is sometimes a hindrance. How do I overcome this?
This is an important question. Not everyone get excited or inspired by the fire and the speech. A lot of people like it. But do you know that you can inspire people one on one by having one on one conversation and making them believe in what you're doing? Not everyone buys the whole public speaking thing. So you can still inspire others. And if you cannot be the front face of your business, find someone that can be and motivate that person. Have you ever heard of the concept of background leadership? You probably are someone who would be a great background leader. That person who's in the back, pushing everyone, not with words, not with inspiring stories, but by a challenge or by what opportunity you can bring for them. Be that person. Find your right space. And in a startup, everyone have their value. Build a great team. That's really my
Yeah,
advice to you.
yeah, that's true. Really understanding also, right? Like what kind of personalities we have and how that can contribute. And also I really like something you said, like create a team that also complements you, right? Because we cannot be good at everything, right? We may be great at public speaking, but we may not necessarily be a super genius with numbers. And so maybe I need to have someone who understands that. So I think that's a
Right.
great tip. And I have also a really interesting question. Someone is asking, okay, um, how do you keep motivated during hard times, right? We all learned that resilience is super important as an entrepreneur, right? What is your key to being motivated and not losing hope?
I think my secret is to have close friends. Sometimes it can be quite lonely up there, like I say. Some people look at you, they expect you to always be happy, and they don't really care about what's going on with your personal life. They just want you to be happy, they just want you to be their inspiration. I think the biggest secret is to have close friends, people you can rely on, circles, and you can find them anywhere. You can find them on Facebook, you can find them on apps, you can find them in programs like the program you were in. Find people who really care beyond the selling. And these people, keep them close. They are more valuable than any psychologist or anyone you can pay for to get your mood up. It's just about calling a friend. You know what? Today I don't feel happy. I don't want to be inspiring today. I just want to be able to talk to someone that can understand me. And finding that person, sometimes it's your significant order, that just can talk to you and then make you feel better. You also need to inspire, but know that inspiring others take energy out of you. Find a structure that puts energy back in you. And sometimes it's a close friend or a partner, but you have to really care about finding it too.
Yeah, I think that's super important, right? Because sometimes we may see that entrepreneurs that are super successful are like all the time working. But I believe that we are all humans, and at a certain moment, we may feel like super tired and not uh, may not reach our goals and say, "Oh, this is so frustrating." And there, you're going to need your friends, your people, your loved ones, right? Because we don't need to forget that we are humans and we want to connect. And well, in your case, you're a social entrepreneur, so you want to make impact. You want to have an impact on other people. But as you know, it is important for other people to be okay. You need to be okay as well, right?
Absolutely. And I think it's also great when and I think I saw a question about validating ideas. I think one of the most important thing that I've been able to do in my career as an entrepreneur was to build a sustainable business, a business that actually makes money. And I think some people are against making money, thinking that it's bad. No, making money just solves problems. And the have in my brand, I was really able to network with, CEOs of telecom companies, and these are people that I met when I was in college, and I was asking for sponsorship, who were writing me $500 sponsorship checks when I was, a student, when I was doing Elan. And these people are giving me partnerships, giving me access to fast internet, not even money, in-kind support with their internet. So your ability to put things together and build a really smart business model already helps you solve for some issues. So today we sell space, we sell consultancy services because we also have a network now, and our programs have been successful. People hire us to run their programs for them. So with that, we really are able to build a sustainable model. And from there, at least we don't have issues to pay our employees for now. And we can save a little bit of money if things are hard, so we can support. So that already solves for a lot of your problems. The rest is really about people and impact. You can try to work with that if you can solve the sustainable model part. So focus on building a sustainable business. Very important.
Yeah, definitely. Because as you said, we need money to create, right? To make sure people are paid when they work, to make sure we have spaces, and that's that's life. We need this money. I was thinking, you said, okay, connecting the people is super important. What do you think are the qualities, the skills we need to be a good networker? You know, like someone who can reach out to people that get that said, what is it? Like, should I be like trying to fake it and like, or what is it? How can I become a great connector and networker?
Thank you, Mohammed. Mohammed said I address core matters with realistic approach. It's just my life story, man. I'm just sharing. I'm not inventing this thing. I'm not writing a book. I'm not reading quotes just from people. It's really real life. I think. Okay, I have a few tips for networking. I think first of all, if you're going to a networking event, you can research the people you're going to talk to. I think when people come to networking events, they don't know what to expect sometimes, you know? But you have to understand that people connect over ideas, not just over face looking. So if you can be nice, you can be well dressed, and you come to a networking event, you talk to someone, but that person doesn't want to stay in touch with you. And sometimes the best way for you to connect, especially if it's someone that you really want to connect with, you have to research them. What was their latest tweets? What was the latest article about them? Did they write in the news? Did they post on their Facebook pages? What do they care about? So if you know that, you already have a point. For example, I remember I wanted to connect with a very important writer, and I went to a networking event. I wanted that writer to be a speaker at one of my events. And then I approached her and I said, you know what? I don't agree with your book. And then she said, what? What do you mean? And we were there having a conversation already about her book. Then she realized, oh no, it's not that you don't agree with my book. You probably don't agree with one chapter or one idea, but we're all saying the same thing. And because we introduced ourselves this way, she was automatically interested in me. And when we get to a point where we agree with each other, she was the one who wanted to stay in touch with me, inviting me to other things. So people connect over ideas. Research the people you are networking with so you can have a better approach at connecting over ideas. And the other thing is, you also have to be passionate about what you're doing, and you have to also be able to talk about it in a very short, concise manner. We call it a pitch. Have you ever taken a pitch class? You also have to say, hey, if you give me 3 minutes to tell you about what Banj is, what am I going to say? What are my core values? What am I solving for? And what are the needs that I have right now that I would probably, have with someone who could help me with it? And the best way to stay in touch as well is to have some type of commitment, some way, somehow. Very small. Can be, hey, I have a show. I'll probably invite you to my show. Or, hey, I'm having another event next week. Maybe we can meet again. Or, hey, are you free for a coffee? Let's follow up. Sometimes we network with people that we don't like, but sometimes we network with people we really need. And I think to me, the most important thing was always understand the person who's there. So research the person and also understand how what they're doing connects with what I'm doing. You know, how does that connect with what I'm doing? And from there, we can build natural next steps together.
That's so smart. Yeah, definitely researching people wanna reach out to. But I loved your strategy of actually disagreeing with the person you were looking to connect, right? And then you engage the person in a defense of their work, right? Like, no, hey, why do you say so? So I think that's really smart. Mark, I've listened to so many like interesting and important things. Like I really loved your idea of finding your superpowers and finding your three things that move you. It is clear to me that youth, entrepreneurship, and innovation is for you. Like I see that, so that's amazing. Um, and I really liked also the idea of like how we can brand ourselves, right? And I especially like the idea of what people say about you when you're not in the room, right? I think like you're doing great. I think like, well, I'm a fan of you. I try to support you in everything I can because I think it's really great. So do we have any other questions before we wrap up? Um, is there anything else maybe, Mark, you would like to share? Well, we do have a question that says, is it true that the beginning is difficult? Because I'm afraid and terrified from every beginning. I think what do you think?
Starting is always hard, and I always tell people I don't want to restart anything. But you know what's also very interesting? Starting small and starting new things that are based on what you already started is actually powerful. So if you had worked somewhere on some youth project and hey, you collected sponsorship from some companies. If you're starting something new, you already have those connections, you already have those contacts, or you already have draft projects documents that you can now use again. You never really completely restart. You really always build something already. And I think when you're starting, it's really about passion. You don't count the hours. You just really have to be passionate about it. And sometimes you do things overnight simply because you love it, simply because it brings you joy. And I always tell people if what you're doing is not bringing you any joy, stop it now. Stop it. Because you really want to be able to work on things that brings you joy. And it doesn't have to be something that you start. You can also join initiatives that you like. Don't be afraid of supporting others and joining other groups and other families and build with them as long as you agree on, vision, passion, and impact. So try to see how you can be in spaces that helps you be the best version of yourself, and that can help you move forward.
Yes, I agree, definitely. I think it's super important to improve ourselves, right? To be able to reach a little bit further, say, okay, I can improve. And as you said, it is important to be surrounded by the people who are motivated and who motivating us, who motivate us. I believe that I heard probably you heard that we're supposedly we are like the average of the five people we spend the most time with, right?
Yes,
Something
I
like
heard
that. So
that.
I think that's
Just
super
doing carefully.
important. Yeah, exactly. We need to choose really carefully. So, well, Mark, I think we're getting to the end of our webinar. Um, I think this was wonderful. I felt super inspired. Um, we're going to share with everyone here the recording, the slides. So you can find Mark and connect with him on social media. If you happen to know people who want to contribute with what Mark is doing, please do it. I will share also that information. And thank you everyone for being here today. It was a pleasure. I hope you really enjoyed the webinar as much as I did. It was super enlightening. So wish you all an excellent day. And Mark, is there anything else you want to share before we leave?
No, I really want to thank you, Mirda. I think it's an honor for me to connect. I'm very impressed by the turnout of the event. So thank you everyone who showed up. And I just hope that if one day you wanna stop by the Caribbean and maybe you will choose to come to Haiti, and maybe you can send me a tweet at
There are
Mark Alain.
amazing beaches, amazing landscapes. Haiti is, oh my God, so many fruits I had never seen in my life. Like it is wonderful. So yes, I think if we're going to the Caribbean, we will definitely connect with you.
Definitely. And shoot me a tweeter. Shoot me a tweet. Let me know you're around. I'll be very happy to, have a chat with you if we can find the right time to do so. Thank you so much, guys. I hope this inspired you. And I really hope that you, even if you don't make a choice now, but at least work on your brand, work on your superpowers, and make sure you're investing in yourself for the future. Nita, thank you for having me again.
Thank you again for being here. Thank you everyone for being here. Wish you a beautiful rest of the day or night, whatever you are in the world. So, and have a nice rest of day, and let's connect over your social media. Okay, Mark? See
All
you. Bye
right.
bye.
Bye.